So when you've got a great idea, a lot of people come up to me at various conferences and say, what do they do next? The first thing I like to tell people is you always want to research the market and potential competitors. I think at the earliest stage, when you have the idea, is clearly the most logical time to spend some time surfing around the internet, looking for other similar products, other similar ideas to what you're talking about. The truth is, there's a lot of stuff out there that's already happened, already been tried, and to save yourself a lot of grief and heartache, it's better up front to spend some time, diligence the idea, and really give it your best effort to look around and make sure that it hasn't already been attempted or already exists. The next step in the game plan is to articulate your idea in a simple one-page document. This is needed for a bunch of reasons, but mostly for you, to make sure if you can't articulate it and get your point across in a simple one-page document, it's too complex or it's going to be too hard to pull off. So that's a key second step for any person going through this path. Next step is to seek feedback from respected sources. So you've done your research, you see that there's no similar product or business in existence. You've got your one-page document that clearly articulates your idea, and the next step again is to go seek feedback from respected sources. These can be potential users of your product, these can be other successful business people that you've heard of, or they can really just frankly be people that you walk up to on the street. Anyone that's willing to provide feedback in and around your idea. I would try to avoid, and it's a very common pitfall I think, this concept that someone's going to steal your idea or hear about it and knock it off, or I don't want to tell someone because they work at a company and what if they do it. Has that ever happened? It has, but that's the half of 1%. 99.5% of the time, one of the reasons ideas don't get off the ground is people are very concerned about sharing it. They're very concerned about getting feedback, with the concern being that someone's going to steal their idea. And the truth is, there's millions of great ideas out there, especially in the internet technology sector. It's much more about execution and a race and who can execute along that idea the best, as opposed to sort of keeping it secret, keeping it covert for years and years. That's just really not the case in this space. So again, feel comfortable seeking feedback from really anyone who will listen to you and give you feedback. The next step is to really dig in and dive in and create something. This is the number one biggest hiccup that stops people from launching their idea. And it's truly that point where your product or your vision goes from an idea or a concept to an actually working prototype that a user or a consumer can interact with. So it's a very exciting time for the entrepreneur, and I think something that people should be excited about. And yes, it's easier said than done to actually get it up and running, but I think it's easier than most people think. Instead of getting caught up on all the details of what's going to happen when X, Y, and Z happens way down the road, I would advise any entrepreneur trying to get their product off the ground to just focus on what's the basics that I have to do to get this up and running and get some user feedback, get some market feedback, allow consumers to interact with my music app, allow them to interact with my map idea or whatever it is, but get some sort of basic working prototype up, and good things will happen, frankly, if it's a good idea, and maybe they won't if it's a bad idea, but at least you'll know. The vast majority of the time, ideas never even get to that stage. So if you can get to that stage where you actually get it up and have a consumer-facing product, you're in a small 1 to 2% already, and you're already winning. The final tip is really about listening to your user and market feedback. So the incredible thing that we're all fortunate about having the internet and having this sort of two-way communication vehicle is user feedback and market feedback is free, essentially. You just have to get users to use your product. And frankly, fairly easy to survey users, to ask them, what did you like about this product? What didn't you like about this product? Oh, I saw you came and interacted with my product and you never came back. What was it that I did not deliver? And really a product roadmap of most successful consumer-facing businesses, if you look over the last 10 or 15 years, the product roadmap has really been decided upon by the users themselves. And they're the ones that said, hey, we want this feature or that feature, and that's a really huge benefit compared to launching a business or a physical offline company from years ago. And then the final point is the product success will really determine your next steps. So if the product is getting traction and you have users and users are growing, frankly, you'll have lots of sources of capital, you'll have lots of great people coming to you, and when you go pitch people, it will naturally make sense. Conversely, if it's not quite catching on, it doesn't mean that you give up, but you listen to the feedback from the users and you tweak the product. And these are just a few tips that'll help you from going from that great idea that we all have and is all bouncing around our head to really getting something up to the market and getting user feedback and getting it a chance to get off the ground.